Welcome back to Triple Alpha Sports Talk. I'm Josh. That's Bryce, and that's Roy over there on the second take because I forgot to hit the record button.
Yeah.
Luckily, we were only about 2 minutes in, so that's okay. First, I want to say 20th episode. Appreciate the support. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, share. Trying to grow the channel. Can't believe it's already been 20 weeks. March Madness episode. We're not going to talk about it in here. We're going to have its own separate episode. That's going to come out later tonight. And then we're going to start this episode exactly how we started last episode with a little bit of free agency. So Bryce is going to lead us from here.
So at the quarterback position, we didn't really have any signings, but we did have a major trade this week in the NFL. Justin Fields goes to the Steelers for a 6th-round pick that could potentially be a 4th. With playing time.
Doing what they do. They steal the players.
Yep.
Yeah. They always are fleecing the Bears. I mean, the Chase Claypool trade. I mean, it's just one after the other. So I just want to say thank you to Justin Fields. He brought back my love of watching football because watching Nick Foles and Andy Dalton for a few years was some of the worst football I've ever watched in my entire life.
Best team you had when Nick Foles was there.
Yep, I agree. I just want to point out that even though I didn't think Justin Fields was going to be gone during the season, as soon as the Bears finished with number 1, I knew he had played his last down. So I just want to chalk that up as a W for me.
Yeah, but the only thing that I thought was kind of cool was that even though it's shitty we got a 6th-round pick, there was some other teams that offered more, but Ryan Poles did right by Justin Fields and he let him pick where he wanted to go. I can't imagine it was much better of a pick than maybe like 5th or a 5th and a 6th or something. So
I'm just shocked that Steelers did it, I guess, with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
That's just that's just different.
But I mean, you have Justin Fields sit behind Russell Wilson for a year or two, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what he should have done whenever he came out of college.
I also read that outside of the Steelers, most of the teams that were interested in the trade were teams that had a solidified quarterback for the future. It wasn't like maybe an older guy like Russell Wilson. It was probably someone that Fields would only see the field if he got hurt. So he at least has an alley to play in Pittsburgh at some point. So I think that's going to take us into free agency a little bit.
Yeah, so we didn't really have any quarterbacks. Running back signings, I don't think we talked about Josh Jacobs.
Nope.
Signed with the Green Bay Packers, and everybody tweeted out for the first hour that he was on the team that they had the best running back field in the entire league, and then all of a sudden Aaron Jones is cut. So don't know what they were doing there. He ended up on the Vikings. He's going to have a crazy revenge tour. I think Jones is better than Jacobs personally because I've watched him run a lot more than I've watched Jacobs. So crazy deal for me there with Green Bay.
Yeah, Roy, what do you think about that whole situation?
I just think, they're about the same player in my opinion. So you take Aaron Jones and you bring in Josh Jacobs. I don't know. I thought Jones was a good running back. I think Jacobs is a good running back. So it kind of benefits both them and Minnesota. I think Jones just didn't get the carries that he probably needed. Because they kind of do running back by committee, sometimes here and there. So no, I just figured you replace one with another, the same player. So
I thought it was confusing. Bryce is right. For the first hour, man, they had the best backfield in football. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
And they asked Jones to take the pay cut, and I'm kind of surprised he didn't because he still makes good money, and a 1-2 punch like that would make him even better. Said F you guys. And then, once he got released, he said, screw you guys for real, and went to the Vikings. So
and I think he's only making like $1 million more at the Vikings than he would have at Green Bay.
Yeah, so weird situation. It kind of surprised.
But he'll be the guy in Minnesota.
They
that's
let go of Madison, so he is the guy. But I just thought it was weird. You have Jacob or you have Jones. Why are you going out looking for another? I don't know. It was weird. I know he's been a little injury prone, but most running backs are. It's hard to stay healthy for a full year. But weird situation. Green Bay probably is okay with it. They get a good running back. Minnesota sure is all good with it. But that.
Yeah, it sucks. The NFC North is just getting stacked right now. It might be the best division in the league next year. The other big running back signing I saw was Derrick Henry to the Baltimore Ravens on a 2-year, $16 million deal. I think a lot of people kind of saw this coming. His last game, he basically did like a farewell tour.
Yep.
And then he obviously wants a ring. He's one of the best running backs we've ever seen, especially in our generation. The guy's an animal. He's like super tall and huge, runs as fast as any other small running back. So putting him on that Ravens defense or Ravens offense, I mean, that's going to be a stud offense next year. They just need probably one more receiver to go with that team, and it's Super Bowl
Yeah,
bound.
I'll go on this one.
Go ahead.
I mean, this is a slam dunk of a signing. He's definitely not the player he was when he got drafted. Don't get me wrong. He's not as quick as he was.
Yeah.
But you look at that Ravens offense, speed, Lamar Jackson, all their running backs are speed. Their wide receivers are speed. And then you just have an absolute downhill pounder up the middle. With, I mean, you saw at the end of the season when their running backs were hurt what Gus Edwards could do being a downhill runner. I mean, Derrick Henry is twice the player Gus Edwards was and is. So I can only imagine how hard it. I mean, imagine a zone read at the 1 yard line. You're either going to send the house in to stop Derrick Henry, or Lamar Jackson's going to sprint to the pylon. I mean, that's going to be unguardable. I mean, it's a perfect.
I agree. I think this is like the best signing for them. I mean, I mean, you got the thunder and lightning. I mean, you can just like you said, the option where you hand it off to Henry and let him just pound it away, and behind that line he'll do a good job, and then Lamar Jackson will pull it. I mean, you've just made that offense a lot better. I mean, they were doing, J.K. Dobbins and those guys. There was some talent there, but Derrick Henry, even though he's gotten a little bit beat up and slower, but I think he's still good. And they, like you said, they need a receiver, and that offense will be unreal next year.
I agree.
There's only a few other running backs. I didn't think they were as big though. Austin Eckler to the Commanders on a 2-year, $11 million. Gus Edwards is a Charger, 2 years, 6.5. Zach Moss is a Bengal, 2 years, $8 million. So those are a few other ones that I saw.
Yeah.
Wide receivers. We have some issues with T. Higgins. You know, he once traded after he got franchise tagged. The guy once paid. Jamar Chase clearly doesn't care if another receiver gets paid. So there's some issues there. Do you see him being on the team next year?
We can talk about that when we get to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Okay. Who else do we have receiver wise? Did we speak on Darnell Mooney to the Falcons? I think we did.
Yeah. I mean,
no one cares.
Keenan Allen to the Bears.
Yeah, we can talk about that one. That one's big enough to me. I think it's a good signing or a good trade for the Bears. They didn't give up much. What does he have? 1 year left, right?
Yeah, and it's part of the first round pick that we traded for last year.
Yeah,
so we're still banking off of that.
I mean, the Bears. It's a weird trade in my opinion, but it's a good one because I like the player Keenan Allen. But the Bears are definitely a year or two away from being a perennial Super Bowl contender. They have potential this year. I wouldn't say they're a Super Bowl contender right now. And Keenan Allen only has 1 year left. He's not getting any younger. Keenan Allen always misses time with injuries. But maybe not without the big workload that he had in LA all over the years. Maybe they can keep him healthy. So I like the trade. It's just the fit is a little off because of the age of the organization and him. But if you can get 2 or 3 good more years out of Keenan Allen, like an extension, it's a great trade.
Especially veteran receiver with a rookie quarterback coming in.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I think you bring in a veteran receiver with DJ Moore on the other side to give Caleb Williams and somebody else to throw to. I mean, I thought it was a weird trade for JJ. Or who?
Or JJ.
Or JJ.
Number one pick.
That's who you. Hey, he went and worked out for the Commanders today. So, but no, I think Keenan. I agree. I think it was a weird trade, but I think it'll work out for. He misses way too much time. That's his biggest problem. He gets. I mean, he misses a lot of games, throughout the year.
Yeah, I agree. Bet.
Some other receivers I'm seeing: Gabe Davis to the Jaguars, 3 years, $39 million. Curtis Samuel to the Bills, 3 years, $24 million.
These guys, we don't need to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of going over the people we haven't talked about. I don't think that there's anybody else on the receiver end that is a name that you would think of. Tight ends, Gerald Everett to the Bears. He's going to be a backup there. There's not really much with the tight end position.
Nope. I think we've hit the main part.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more big free agents to go over. So we can
move on. Yeah. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot more moves that were crazy.
Couldn't be. I mean, geez. I mean,
Patrick Queen to the Steelers. That was a big one.
Yeah, Ravens just didn't have any more money to pay him. I mean, they're paying Roquan Smith his money.
Yeah, I know.
Just had to move on. I think that's going to take us into our NFL breakdowns. We're going to kick it right off. And our next team up is the Seattle Seahawks team I saw play in person, and boy, did they look good when I watched them. No, he was busy tonight, so no guest. Seahawks finished last season 9-8. they do miss the playoffs by a little bit. These are the last 3 teams before we hit playoff teams. So these are the 3 that were the closest. And Seattle, I mean, you have a winning record, 9 wins. Most of the time that does get you in, just not this year. They have the number 16 pick. They do not have a 2. They trade it for Leonard Williams, a D tackle from the Giants. They have 2 thirds, a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, and a 7th. So pretty traditional. Geno Smith was the guy outside of, I believe, 1 or 2 games down the stretch. And he put up a respectable season, 3,600 yards, 20 touchdowns and 9 picks. You don't love the ratio 2-1 almost. But he took care of the ball for the most part. 9 picks isn't too bad. Drew Lock was really bad when he played. Typical Drew Lock. He went to Mizzou. You can't expect much else. Rushing, they do have a good run game duo of Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, the rookie. Kenneth Walker, 900 yards and 8 touchdowns. He missed some time. And Charbonnet, 462 yards and 1 touchdown, that touchdown being in the game that I was at in Dallas. Receiving, it's really a 3-headed monster of DK Metcalf being the one with 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns, a really good season. Tyler Lockett, who's getting up there in age, 890 yards, 5 touchdowns. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, maybe a little bit quieter year than you'd like on being a first-round pick, 600 yards and 4 touchdowns. But with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett taking those targets, it's hard to, get everybody involved. I've moved this up to talk about it before we talk about a recap. The Seahawks have $36 million currently available. So I'm going to just open it up for the recap of the season. Bryce, what do you think of the Seahawks this past season?
The Seahawks, I said it all year, they play good football and they come out and they beat teams that don't come out and ready to play. It sucks they missed the playoffs because this is a team that I really wanted to see. They're one of those teams that, they're sleepers. People don't think that they're going to win. They're always underdogs in every game, but yet they're in every game.
Yeah.
They're well coached. Well,
yeah, we'll get to that. Just I understand. I know what you're about to say.
They were well coached. But I just think that they need a new quarterback in Seattle. I don't think that Geno Smith's the guy that's going to take you to a Super Bowl. I think he's great in a good system for him that has great players around him. But he doesn't have that explosive X factor, in my opinion. And this being a stacked draft year, I could see them taking somebody. There will be a quarterback available at 16, I think.
Yeah, could definitely. Roy, what do you think of the Seahawks this past season?
Well, I mean, Seahawks is an up and down different team. I mean, it is on their quarterback play. I mean, Geno Smith is serviceable. I mean, he's improved a lot from when he was in a Jet and anywhere else. They have they have good 2 running backs. I mean, I think Walker and Charbonnet is really good, and they got DK Metcalf and then Jackson on the outside. Tyler Lockett is he's getting slower and just getting older, and I'm not a big fan of him.
Laughing at
Jackson on the south side.
Jackson on the south.
It's so funny.
I'm not saying he's from Ohio State, so screw him.
I know. That's why I was laughing.
Their problem is, I mean, they were 21st in offense, total offense, and 30th in defense. I mean, their defenses. I mean, they used to be known as the Thunder. I mean, that was
Legion of Boom. Legion of Boom.
So I mean, they did make some moves in the offseason, to get some defense players. I mean, they've upgraded that, so that's helped out. They just need to get some young guys that they've drafted well, in my opinion. I do agree they do need to get a quarterback. I don't think they're going to use their first round draft pick as a quarterback. No. Because I think they need other things before that. Their offensive line wasn't great. But they have capability. All they need is a couple more players, and they'll make the playoffs next year. They just have to upgrade on some areas, and they will be well coached because I like their coach. I mean, he was an old Michigan defensive coordinator. I think he's going to bring that Ravens defense, and they'll be a much better team next year than they were this year.
See, and I'm interested that you say that, Roy, because I have the opposite feeling. I thought this team was really good this year. I think they just blew it in a few games. They didn't play well. They do keep Leonard Williams, who they traded a second-round pick for. They extend him for 3 years. But here are their key losses. They lose Damian Lewis, guard. Jalen Brooks, their starting linebacker, to Miami. They lose one of their tight ends, Cody Parkinson. They lose Bobby Wagner. They cut Jamal Adams. They cut Quandre Diggs. I mean, that defense was 30th, and so I understand releasing a lot of these players and letting them go. But to me, right now, this team is worse on paper. Their offense is going to be the same. Even if they took a quarterback, it's still going to be Geno Smith next season. I like their 3 receivers. Their offense, to me, doesn't change a whole lot. It's their defense, I think, is so far back. I think this draft will be a defensive draft for them, mixed in with a few offensive players. brand new coach. He's going to bring a new system. It's going to be a whole different look in Seattle. I think it might take a year or so, even if it's just one. I think it will take some time to adjust. With the
they upgraded,
especially the off. I mean, a little bit. They still have Leonard Williams.
They got Dotson and Baker and some other guys from other teams that have some experience. So that's why I think their defense will be better.
But so I kind of see them taking a step back. But based off the year they had, Bryce nailed it. We all agreed last year this was a team that no one wanted to see in the playoffs because you saw what they did to Dallas in Dallas on, what was it, week 14 or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they can play with anybody. Now, the whole change of the shocking retirement / firing of Pete Carroll, that's going to change the landscape. We'll see how the new organization approach does. I don't think we have anything else for the talk. That's going to take us to probably the most disappointing team of the season.
For you.
Not for me.
You're the freaking rock hard for the Jaguars all
I
the
like
time.
Travis Etienne. Most disappointing team. I mean, this team was 9-3. This team had a lock of the division playoff secured. Jacksonville Jaguars, they also finished 9-8. They have the number 17 pick in the first round, a 2, a 3, 2 4s, a 5, 2 6s, and a 7. So quite a bit of picks. And like we said with a lot of these teams in the middle area, multiple quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence was playing great, and then all of a sudden he got hurt, started playing bad, and it was ugly from there on. Trevor Lawrence played 16 games, but he was hurt for a few of them before they sat him out. 4,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, 14 picks. He threw like 3 or 4 in one game, and then that's when they decided to bench him from the ankle. I think it was ankle leg. I know it was lower body. So those stats might be a little inflated, but still same idea. The backup CJ Beathard, he plays 7 games. Doesn't get much stats into there. Travis Etienne in only 260 carries has 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. He was pretty good on the ground. And then they had a mix of the bruiser back they split between Tank Bigsby and Dearness Johnson. Receiving, it was really Calvin Ridley with 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, but all the targets and catches went to Evan Ingram, who had 114 catches, under 1,000 yards, shockingly, 4 touchdowns. But it felt like every other play, the ball was in Ingram's hands. This team has $15 million in cap, and I'm going to let Roy talk what he thought about the Jacksonville Jaguars this season first.
Well, I mean, they started off hot. I mean, Trevor Lawrence looked like him. Like a future Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean, he was throwing the ball over the field, and they ran the ball really well. That defense just didn't. I mean, kind of faded at the end. I mean, they finished 22nd in total defense, but their offense was 13th. They just need more playmakers. I mean, Christian Kirk. I mean, I know they got Gabe Davis and some other guys. They need more playmakers. I mean, Calvin Ridley, I thought would be perfect in an offense, and he'd be hot one game and you wouldn't see him for 4 games. I had him for fantasy, and it was a struggle. Trevor Lawrence, when he got hurt, I think that lower leg injury, I think that their season was done after he got hurt. They don't have. I mean, now they got Mac Jones to back him up, but they didn't have anybody to back him up, and they need Trevor playing the way he needs to, and they just need more. They need more playmakers, other wide receivers. I mean, Evan Ingram's good, but I mean, you can't rely on a tight end to make a play every freaking game. That defense has got to improve, which they did. They got, Eric Armstead instead. So they got some ball players. They're trying to improve, but I mean, in a weak division, they should come back this next year. I wish they draft a nice wide receiver to go with Trevor Lawrence, and they'd be a really good team.
Yeah. How about you, Bryce? What do you think of the Jags?
This team, like Josh said, they started out super hot, and then I don't remember exactly what game it was, but Trevor Lawrence got rolled up on in one game, and then he sat for maybe 1 or 2
games,
and then he came back in, and I don't think he was ready to come back in yet. He was just trying to save the season. It didn't look like the same Trevor Lawrence after that, and that's whenever they just couldn't win a game. Your star quarterback goes down. It's tough to make runs for the playoffs, especially once it gets into a tight race like that. I don't think this team's very far off. They added Beasley. That's a stud wide. I think he fits better in this office than Calvin Ridley did, because Calvin Ridley, in my opinion, he drops too many balls.
Beasley?
Did I say it? Gabe Davis?
Oh, I was like, who is Beasley? I'm thinking Cole Beasley.
I was thinking Cole Beasley.
Oh, my gosh. I was like, whoa, what?
Sorry.
Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis is what I meant. I think he fits better in this office than Calvin Ridley, because I think Calvin Ridley drops the ball too much, and I think he's got some attitude issues on the field.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to share the ball, in my opinion. When you have Christian Kirk, who is an absolute stud, especially in the slot position, he needs the ball a lot.
Yeah.
Travis Etienne needs the ball even more.
100% agree. 100% agree.
And they couldn't get it to him, it seemed like. So I agree with Roy. They're one receiver away, in my opinion, from being a great team next year.
Yeah, I 100% agree with both of you guys. They are a receiver away from being really good. And I agree with you, Roy. That defense is what hurt them down the stretch more than Trevor Lawrence. They couldn't get any stops, and they're playing from behind, throwing the ball every play, and the backup quarterback is not able to handle that. I love the additions they've made in this offseason, though. They lose Ridley, and they plug in Gabe Davis. I'll just count that as a wash because Gabe Davis can be a 1,000-yard receiver in this offense, but they had Eric Armstead. They had Darnell Savage. They had Ronald Darby. I mean, they added a bunch of the defensive pieces. I'm not saying these guys are Hall of Fame players, but these guys will help them on what they have. They also add a kicker. Fun fact, a guy can hit from like 70 yards. He just can't hit anything within 30. Joey Sly. He hits bombs. Can't accurately kick it, but he can kick bombs. But I think the draft is going to be really important because you got to think of this division now. This team had the division one, and let's be honest, they blew it with injuries and all that things. You have Indy with getting their quarterback back. You know, they were one game away from the playoffs with a backup. You look at Houston. I mean, that's the biggest riser last season, coming from the second pick to the playoffs. So this division is going to get real tight here, and I don't think Jacksonville will go 9-3 next year off the start like they did. So they're going to have to get better overall and play better, or else they won't win that division anymore. I don't think.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that division's gotten really good really quickly.
Yep.
I don't think we have anything else on the Jaguars. That's going to take us to the Cincinnati Bengals, who I'll say it again. I'm beating a dead horse here. Multiple quarterbacks playing. Joe Burrow gets hurt. What did he break his throat or tear a ligament in his wrist? Yeah, and he couldn't throw. So 10 games played for Joe Burrow. I mean, he was great in the 10 games he played. And don't forget, he came into this year fine, and then about 2 weeks left in training camp, he pulls that calf and wasn't the same the first few games. So it was an injury-riddled season for Burrow the entire time. 10 games played, 2,300 yards, 15 touchdowns to 6 picks. It's a good ratio for the time being. Jake Browning came in, looked like Peyton Manning the first game, and Roy was calling for Burrow's head. I won't forget it.
Yeah, Roy was saying that Browning should be the new starter in Cincinnati.
Give Jake Browning the job.
And then he plays 9 games, under 2,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, 7 picks. He threw more picks than Burrow did in one less game. So I hope that theory is put to rest. Mixon, who is currently not on the team anymore, we'll get to that later, 257 carries, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. Typical Joe Mixon year. It was good. It was the Jamar Chase show, as it is, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. Tyler Boyd, 600 yards, 2 touchdowns, really quiet year. And T. Higgins, who was hurt, missed some time, 600 yards, 5 touchdowns. They currently have $30 million in cap space for the next season, and I forgot to talk about their picks. They own a very traditional – I don't think I changed it now that I'm looking at that. That is not right. They hold the 18th pick, I believe, because 17 was last. So I do not know the picks because that's wrong. But I know they don't have anything crazy like 2 firsts. So I'll go ahead and start with the Bengals first. I mean, it was an injury-riddled season. Once Burrow went down, I mean, they were done. They weren't going to compete. They didn't have the offensive line as usual. And Higgins missed time. Burrow missed time. It's hard to win games in the National Football League when your star players aren't on the field. And it's really all it is. It's an injury-riddled season. But to look into the future, this team has a lot of question marks. Tyler Boyd is a free agent. Yeah. He is not on the Bengals. Joe Mixon has been traded to Houston and signed an extension. He is no longer there. They do get – was Zach Moss, is that correct?
Yes.
Zach Moss. Okay, Zach Moss. Yeah, Max Moss is in. It's Zach Moss. But let's be honest, Chase Brown's the main guy there. Let's be real.
I know he's an Illinois guy and you're talking about, but I don't completely disagree with that. That guy was
he was good.
Whenever
he is good.
Yeah,
now,
I hate to say it too.
Yeah.
I think he's just same type of running back as Mixon.
Yeah. I'm sure that it'll be closer to a 50-50, but Chase Brown is a good running back. I loved the pick when they picked him. And outside of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins has requested a trade.
Yeah.
I mean, this team has a lot of question marks. Now, I do know they have upgraded on the O-line. But I don't have anything else. This team has a lot of question marks, and I think they need to answer a few of them before you can kind of give a good outlook of what their season will look like next year.
I agree. I mean, this team had too much promise to be as bad as they were this year.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Burrow. You're right. When Joe Burrows went down, I mean, he got hurt. And when he got hurt early in the year, I hate when quarterbacks get hurt in training camp at all, because then it just seems like that just carries over to the season and they get hurt again. It just seems like that's just they're on a bad juju on that, and they're going to get themselves hurt. This team, the problem with this team was, I mean, their offense still was finished 22nd in total offense, but they were 31st in defense. Their defense was terrible. You're right. Their offensive line wasn't very good. That doesn't help, but they got Trent Brown to 1-year contract. I mean, they've kind of upgraded a little bit to help themselves. The defenses, they're just got some young players as I was looking, and they just got, I mean, I don't know if it was just they're still learning, because they've got some talented guys. They just didn't play very well. And that division, when you play Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cleveland, guys who just pound you and just beat you to hell, you've got to have a strong defense, especially up front. And that was what's killing them. When you can't match their toughness, then that's what I think that's what their goal was: spend all their money on offense and just try to outscore everybody with Joe Burrows and Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins. But you've got to have some kind of a defense at least keep you in ball games. And I think that, I mean, they do have question marks, but they'll use a draft to see, they'll see. I think you're right. I think Zach Moss and Chase Brown will be fine as long as they keep T. Higgins, which is what worries me. If they trade him, or because that's what he wants, then I think that team's going to struggle, because that's what gets Ja'Marr Chase open. They need him, because they need another receiver. If they trade him, they've got to get a top-notch receiver in the draft.
I have seen a lot of reports saying very top of the second round picks. I'll just use who has a top pick, not or like Chicago. I know they don't have their second round pick or whatever, but a pick high in the second round.
Washington.
I've been hearing, like Washington. I've been hearing that's the kind of compensation it would take to get Higgins. I don't know if you pull the trigger on that right now. I mean, the Bengals are obviously in a win now mode. They're not.
Yeah,
they're not trying to take steps back like that.
But if you replace him with a rookie for T. Higgins, I mean, that's just, I mean, you got to keep T. Higgins somehow. You got to figure out how to keep him.
I agree.
And just that'll make your team, because you get rid of him, then your team's gonna struggle, I think, a little bit.
Yeah. What about you, Bryce? What do you think of the Bengals?
I think it's gonna be so hard to keep him. Ja'Marr Chase has already voiced he doesn't care if anybody gets paid as long as he gets paid.
Yeah,
he said that. So why would you want to be a guy who's clearly a number one on, let's say, 15 of the teams in the league, and get paid half of what you should be getting paid to go sit behind a guy who's getting double the catches you are?
Yeah.
They don't use him. I don't blame him for wanting to get a trade. He would be a stud. He'd be probably a number one fantasy scorer if he was on, say, like
the Titans.
The Titans, yeah. He would be a stud on any team like that. So I do want to point out that Josh forgot to mention that the GOAT on their team, AJ McCarron,
I knew you were
with
say,
4 for 5 completions, 19 yards, Battlehawk legend.
I had saved it for you. I saw it. I skipped it to see if you would say something.
Yeah, AJ McCarron's a stud. Can't wait to watch him in the Battlehawk season this year.
Year 2, taking the ship.
Only Alabama guy I'll root for, pretty much.
Ridiculous.
I don't think they have very much issue in the running back game. We kind of talked about that. Losing Joe Mixon was kind of a weird thing for me, but with Joe Burrow back there, they didn't need him to be the run first team that they needed anymore, in my opinion. As long as he comes back to what he was the year they went to the Super Bowl. However, I don't think that this is a win now team like you guys do. I think they should take a step back because of how many issues they have. I don't see them re-signing Tyler Boyd. I know, as a Bears fan, I really want him to come to the Bears, or did before the Keenan Allen trade at least. I'm sure there's plenty of other teams that would love to have him as a 2 or 3 on their roster. He's a solid receiver, in my opinion. I see T. Higgins gone. I see you don't know if Joe Burrow is going to come back and be Joe Burrow like he was the Super Bowl run.
He will be.
I think he will, but you just don't know.
He will be too.
They don't have any money. They don't have a good defense. This is a team that, in my opinion, needs to take a step back and not get their quarterback killed for a whole nother year. trying to go out and win a Super Bowl.
I mean, it's a valid point. I'm not saying you're wrong. I know they won't do that, but it's valid point in theory. I will say it.
Get too many good players to take a step. I mean,
that's the
you don't want to
problem.
waste Joe Burrows. I mean, what you're doing is an Aaron Rodgers situation that they did in Green Bay.
They're already
And
paying them. That's the problem. The only one that's not getting paid is the receivers, but they're on verge of getting paid. That's why they're arguing and stuff. So I agree, but I do understand the theory, and I'm not saying it's a bad take because it's not. I don't think we
can see Justin Jefferson going here. Huh?
That's true. What if you package their first round pick and T. Higgins and you see Justin Jefferson on this team? You know, that's the best receiving.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be ridiculous.
You team the LSU team back up.
I know. I mean,
so
chalk it. So
we'd be seeing Gritties in the end zone for the next 4 years.
Oh, fun fact. I didn't mention this, and I didn't even have to look to know this. Mike Gesicki, who has the best Gritty in football.
Gesicki, correct.
Gesicki. He is now a Cincinnati Bengal. He will have the best Gritty. I can't wait to watch it every time he scores a touchdown.
Cairo Santos has the best
No.
Gritty in the
You've never seen
I have.
Gesicki's then.
I've seen Cairo Santos, though.
Okay, I don't think we have anything else. I think that's going to take us into baseball season. Before we get to baseball, I'm going to ask the group what they think about. We had breaking news. Blake Snell signs last night to us. This will be 2 days ago to you guys seeing this on Wednesday. To the San Francisco Giants. I'll start with you, Bryce. What are your first thoughts on Blake Snell going to the Giants? It's a 2-year deal worth about $62 million.
I think that the Giants just kind of wanted to spend some money this year, and I don't think that they got any of their guys at the beginning, so they ended up going for Blake Snell. I kind of can't believe that's where he ended up going. It's hard for me to believe that the Yankees didn't offer him the equivalent to come play as the Yankees and win a World Series there.
Roy, before I get to you, I do want to say we have been keeping track of our free agency tracker. None of us got it right.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Roy.
I mean, I freaking changed it last week.
He had it, and Roy changed it to the Phillies. So we all get zeros.
Yeah, the Giants needed an extra pitcher, and they've been trying to get pitching all offseason, and they finally got Snell. I don't think Blake Snell wanted to pitch in New York. Because there was too many offers out there from the Yankees and the Mets. I just think he didn't want to pitch there. I think he must like the West Coast because he's been in San Diego because I just don't think he liked it.
So
good for the
report.
Good for the Giants. Good for the Giants though. They needed the extra pitching, and that just makes them better. So that's going to make them compete well in that Western in the NL.
Yeah, we went over the Giants. That was our first division, and I thought they had a good offseason. They got Jung Ho Lee, Jorge Soler. I thought they had a good offseason. Since then, they've added Matt Chapman and Blake Snell. I mean, you got to think of the division there, and they got to play Arizona. They got to play LA Dodgers. I mean, they had to beef that roster up, and good to them they did. And that's a big market. I know most people don't look at it that way. That's a big market team. They can spend money, and they are. And good for them. I like it for the Giants. I think it's a good signing. As for Blake Snell, I mean, Blake Snell definitely didn't get the offer he wanted. I mean, it's basically $30 million for 2 years each. It's an opt-out after one. So if he goes this year, wins another Cy Young, guess what? He's going to opt out and do this all over again. So I like it for Blake Snell. He gets $30 million for the next 2 seasons. It's hard for me to see him repeat the season he had. I don't know why the Yankees can't offer a 2-year deal. I mean, that's just crazy to me. Like, it's just crazy. It's 2 years. But, they didn't do it. But good for Blake Snell. Good for the Giants. That will lead us into our MLB thing. And we have our last division. It's the AL West. We're going to start with the Oakland Athletics. For now, they will soon to be the Las Vegas Athletics. They go 50-112. They missed the playoffs. And I tried to put a name here. They have no key losses and no key additions. They were just whatever names. I'm going to be honest. Their lineup looks like Ryan Noda, Zach Getloff, Brent Rooker, Seth Brown, J.D. Davis, J.J. Bleday, Shane Langoliers, Yesty Ruiz, and Nick Allen, with Yankee legend Miguel Andujar on the bench. Roy, just wanted to point that out to you.
I see that.
Their starting rotation looks like Alex Wood, Ross Stripling, J.P. Sears, Paul Blackburn, and Joe Boyle, with a bullpen of I have never heard of almost any of the names. That's all I'm going to say. Roy, I'll let you start. What do you think of the Oakland Athletics?
They're just buying their time till they get to Vegas. That's all they're doing. I mean, they're not even going to spend money. They're not going to do anything. They're not getting anybody to come watch them. So I mean, that's who cares. So they're just going to throw a team out there I mean, they may win 50 games. I don't think. I mean, all they're trying to do is probably trying to get to hope these guys hit well or do something well that they can trade them at the deadline to contending team and get some draft or get some prospects. Because when you look through this, I mean, there's only a few guys I know, and I'm like, what the hell? I mean, there's nobody that stands out. I mean, half these guys are former Yankees that the Yankees have traded to them. J.P. Spears and there's Luis Medina.
Luis Medina,
he's hurt. I mean, there's
they also have what's the one of the we sent him in the Montez trade. It was Sears and someone else, Caprillion or somebody. I don't know. It was a lefty.
Yeah, there's about 4 or 5 guys. I've been looking, and I looked at this team, and they're just like you said, they're just buying their time to Vegas.
Yeah. How about you, Bryce? What do you think of the Oakland Athletics?
Yeah, they won 50 games last year, and they might win 50 games this year. They're a horrible team. I mean, I can't even name one person on their roster. They had their owner doesn't care. He wants to leave. Like, he's a piece of shit. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah. I mean, I will say Zach Getloff, their second baseman, projected to hit second. He has potential. Shea Langoliers, their catcher, has power potential, and they also have a guy. I'm surprised he's not in here. What's his face? Tyler Soderstrom. He's got good potential. You might see him too. I think it's pretty clear what this team is doing. They won't pay anyone. They don't want to pay anyone. They want to lose as many games as possible. Especially, they're going to Vegas. Roy said it. They're going to lose until they go to Vegas. Yeah. But I also think they're losing on purpose. They can get more picks, kind of like the Orioles did, pick after pick after pick after pick. By the time they get to Vegas, hopefully they'll have hit on those picks, and people can bring them up, and then that will attract players who come to Vegas. So, in theory, I can see it, but yeah, I mean, right now this is just an abysmal roster.
I mean, you just got to feel bad for this whole city in general. I mean, the city's going to shit, and every sports team.
I mean, it's sad for me. You guys probably haven't even. Were the A's, have they ever been good since you guys been alive?
I mean, the couple wild card games they played the Yankees in 19, 18 in that range, but no. Outside of that, no.
I mean, when I grew up in the 90s and 80s, I mean, they had McGuire and Canseco in the 80s, and they made the World Series against the Giants in 89. I mean, they were good. I mean, they had Dennis Eckersley. They were a good team all the way through the 90s. And then you had Giambi in them in the late 90s, and then they were a good team. And since then, this whole thing about, they needed a new stadium. They needed this. I mean, they were trying to be San Francisco without having an owner that is willing to spend the money on that. Yeah. Because they're in that market. They got a big market. They act like a small franchise in a big market, and it just pisses me off. It just pisses me off. I mean, that franchise is known to be really good. I mean, back in the 70s, they were good. It's just sad to watch this team. You wanted to go to Vegas that bad that what they do? The fans did attendance day one day where they were begging for them to stay, and you don't even.
They sold out the stadium one game.
Yeah.
To
prove that they would come.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
I agree.
But the Raiders did it too. I mean, Oakland's losing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty clear this is one of the worst teams on paper in baseball. So I think that leads to our next team, the Los Angeles Angels. They go 73-89. They miss the playoffs. Their key losses. I mean, the biggest one of them all. So Shohei Ohtani, they keep him for 6 years. They sign him from Japan, and he walks for nothing. And then they also lose C.J. Cron. They had no key additions. I tried to put something in there as well, but they just don't have anything. Their lineup, Luis Rengifo, Nolan Schanuel. I don't know if I'm saying that right. He's a rookie. He's supposed to be pretty good.
They did have one pretty good key addition, Aaron Hicks.
Oh, that's true. I could have added him.
Yeah. He's a stud.
They still do have the one and only Mike Trout. Big money, Anthony Rendon, Taylor Ward, Brandon Drury, Mickey Moniak, Logan O'Hoppe, and Zach Neto, with Joe Adell on the bench, who it's his last chance. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's the number one prospect in baseball like 6 years ago. He literally has batted like 100 in Major League Baseball. Wow. They call him a 4A player. He crushes AAA, and he can't do anything in the majors. So their rotation looks like Patrick Sandoval, Griffin Channing, Reed Detmers, Tyler Anderson, and Chase Silseth. I don't even know who that is.
Silseth.
Yeah. With Carlos Estevez as their closer, and a lot of smaller names after that.
Mm-hmm.
Roy, I'm going to let you go first on the Angels. What do you think of the Angels?
Well, it's the Angels just don't. I don't know what they're trying to do. About 15, 20 years ago, they tried to spend a ton of money, try to win the World Series. They won it in what, 05, no, 04, no, 03, no, 03, 04, or 05.
They'll eventually get it.
One of those years, they won one, and then they haven't really done anything since. You got Mike Trout. You're just wasting a talented guy's years. You filled a roster. Anthony Rodon is he's declining. I used to like Brandon Drury. I used to like those guys. Other than Reed Detmer, who I think is a good young pitcher, I think he's got some talent, and I think their Carlos Estevez, their closer, is pretty good. Other than that, you got nothing, and you're in Los Angeles, and you got on the other side of town, you got the freaking Dodgers, and you're not doing anything to help your team. You had Ohtani. It sucks what happened to him because he got hurt, but he wanted to win. That was the problem. You had him for those per time. He wanted to win, and you're lucky. Mike Trout has been so loyal to you. He does not deserve to put up with all the crap that you've done for him. And they're not going to be a very good team this year. Again, they're going to get rocked, and that Aaron Hicks deserves to be there because he's a sucky player for a sucky team.
Yeah. How about you, Bryce? What do you think of the Angels?
Yeah, it's just a poorly ran organization. They completely wasted Mike Trout's career, and they were on track to do it to Shohei Ohtani too. That's two of the greatest players of all time, and they haven't won anything. I don't think Mike Trout's only played like one meaningful game, and that was the World Baseball Classic. He doesn't have any experience on the big stage because they can't get him there. They have a few decent players like Anthony Rendon, Taylor Ward, Brandon Drury, but they're not studs, and they're all getting old. So everybody on that team that is decent is getting old besides Reed Detmers, who is an absolute stud and could be a dominant pitcher to come, but they don't have anybody else. So props to Shohei for getting out of there. I didn't want to see his career wasted there. Personally, I'd rather he didn't go to the Dodgers for $1 billion, but hey, it's
good for him.
Yeah, good for him for getting out of there.
I'm going to be honest, boys. I'm about to blast this team here. Just letting you know. This team, I don't even know what to say. This team has had the best two baseball players in the last 6 years. The two best. 1, 2. Maybe you can make a case for Acuna, but whatever. They haven't even made the playoffs.
Yeah.
They have, you guys both said, they have wasted Mike Trout's career. Every time they try to go get a big free agent. The first one that I know is Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols was horrible as an Angel. What do? And I'm not going to say it wasn't a bad signing at the time. They go and they sign Anthony Rendon after winning the World Series. He was great for that Nationals team. He hasn't played 162 games since he's been there in 4 years total. It's been abysmal. And this is the part that gets me the most. This was a non-competitive team last year for the most part. They are going to be non-competitive this year. How they did not trade the greatest player I've ever seen play baseball in person, watch, they get nothing. They get nothing for him. This team deserves to be worse than Oakland, in my opinion. This team is so bad. That GM should have been fired. How they don't trade Shohei Ohtani, I could only imagine the package they could have got from the Dodgers last year. You're telling me no one wanted Shohei Ohtani? No, nobody. That's crazy. I hate this team. I think they ruined good players' career. I hope no one goes there. So that's what I have to say for the Angels.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's going to take us to almost skipped them. Our third team, the Seattle Mariners, and I'm going to let Bryce talk about the Mariners on this one.
All right. The Mariners had a 88-74 record and missed the playoffs. They lost Teoscar Hernandez to LA, Robbie Ray to the Giants, Jared Kelenic to Atlanta, and Eugenio Suarez to Arizona. Their key additions are Ryan Stanek, Mitch Garver, Jorge Polanco, and Mitch Haniger. Their starting lineup looked like J.P. Crawford, Julio Rodriguez, Jorge Polanco, Mitch Garver, Kyle Riley, Mitch Haniger, Dominic Carzono, Ty France, and Josh Rojos. Their rotation looks like I have no idea.
No, rotation.
Oh, yeah, those are bench. Sorry. Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Bryce Miller, Brian Woo. And then their closer, Andre Muniz, Ryan Stanake. Is anybody else on there?
No,
really?
the rest are good. Those are the
Yeah.
two.
This team, in my opinion, they're a pretty solid team. I think losing Teoscar Hernandez, obviously, and Robbie Ray, those are two pretty big losses, in my opinion. Robbie Ray isn't the same pitcher that he was a few years ago, I don't think. But Teoscar Hernandez was a stud for them. I do like all of their signings. I mean, all of these guys are still really good players, in my opinion, and they all add a ton to this roster. So, to me, on paper, they got better this year in the offseason, and they did it pretty well. I think that they have a pretty solid rotation. I think that they're pretty solid batting order is what I'm trying to say. I think that some of their issue is going to come with their starting pitchers. Luis Castillo is a really good pitcher, but I think that they struggle towards the end. They need that one or two more starting pitchers, in my opinion, to become a really good team and make deep runs into the playoffs.
How about you, Roy? What do you think of the Mariners?
I mean, the Mariners, they're just I think they're trying to figure out what they want to do. You got a good young player, and in Julio Rodriguez, who I think is a stud, and J.P. Crawford, I think is good, and I think Josh Rojas is good. I liked Jared Kelenic, and I can't believe they traded him to Atlanta. That just surprised the hell out of me. And then you replace him with Mitch Haniger. I think Mitch Haniger is past his prime. I mean, he was good about 3 or 4 years ago, but he didn't do much for the Giants. I think they lost more than what they gained. This team just has to figure. I mean, Jorge Polanco, he's a good, decent player, but he's not anything that's going to help your team. This is a middle of the pack team. I mean, this is a team that's going to just sit there and they'll win some games, but they're not going to do anything great. They're not going to be their pitching staff. They need Logan Gilbert to take a step is what they need him to do. Luis Castillo is good. It can be good. I think he struggles here and there. I mean, when he was in the Reds last year, the Reds, I mean, he was a stud. I mean, but I think being a number one in Seattle has kind of not made him where he needs to be. If they can get Logan Gilbert and some of his other pitchers to take a next step and be a better player and get some of these young guys to make a next step, they could be a better team. They could. Yeah. The problem is they're in a tough division with the other two teams that are in there. So that's why I think they're a middle of a pack team. They could be a wild card team, but it'd be tough. I think they're going to be about the same team they were last year.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Roy. I think this team took a step back. To me, when they lose Teoscar Hernandez and Eugenio Suarez, that was their two thumpers outside of Julio Rodriguez, who obviously wasn't going anywhere. They lose so much power in that lineup. To me, Cal Raleigh, he's a good hitting catcher, but catchers are so inconsistent at the plate in their careers. It's hard to just bank on him being the power. I agree, Mitch Garver's past his prime, but he did have a good year last year. Julio Rodriguez is a stud, but the bottom of their lineup is bad. I mean, their bottom three, K-Zone, Ty France, and Rojas, those are guys who are going to get singles. And they don't have the thumpers to knock them in my opinion. Yeah. Their bullpen, I didn't mention George Kirby, or not. Is it George? No, it's I forgot his name. They have a guy in the bullpen who's not on here. He's day-to-day. He's missing like a week. He is really good in the bullpen. So they have one more good bullpen piece. I disagree with you, Bryce. This team's rotation is where I think they're the strongest. Castillo's, I wouldn't say he's an absolute dominant ace, but he can be when he's on. We've seen it as Yankee fans. He can be on. I agree with you, Roy. Logan Gilbert needs to take the next step. He's at the point where he needs the next step. Kirby, Bryce Miller, and Brian Woo are all under 26 years old and top prospects. I'm not saying they're going to light the show on fire this year, but for the future, I mean, they have potential to have one of the best rotations in baseball. Even with Luis Castillo being 31, I know he signed an extension. When he gets older, they aren't going to have to go sign someone as long as these guys take that next step throughout their careers over the years. To me, this was one of the more disappointing teams in free agency. I really thought this team was primed to go get a big name hitter. I actually thought they were a slow dark horse for Shohei early and not ended up being in the running late. couple other guys. I would love this team to make a big trade. To me, they have the pitching depth. They have names that aren't on this list that are also high. I love this fit for Mike Trout. I know he's probably not going anywhere, especially in the division, but they have the pitching depth, and that's probably what the Angels would look for. But I agree with you, Roy, though. They're in a bad division, or they're in a good division, excuse me. And I don't think they made that next step with the hitting, and I just see them as a middle-of-the-pack team like they were last year.
Yep.
That's going to take us to the Texas Rangers, who finished the season 90-72 and went on a run to win the World Series. Their key losses, they lose Martin Perez to Pittsburgh, Aroldis Chapman to Pittsburgh, Mitch Garver to Seattle, and Jordan Montgomery, who is a free agent. They added David Robertson, Tyler Mahle, and Kirby Yates, all pitching. They don't really add to the hitting. Their projected lineup is Marcus Semien, Evan Carter, Wyatt Langford, who was a first-round pick 6 months ago and has tore through the minor leagues at 22 years old. He is projected to make the roster. That will be wait to be seen, but I truly believe he is going to make the roster, and he's going to start. Adolis Garcia, not pictured in here, is Corey Seager, who is also day-to-day, so he will be in this lineup. So Corey Seager, Jonah Heim, Josh Jung, Jared Walsh, who I personally don't think will make the roster, but they have him listed here. Leody Taveras and Ezekiel Duran with a pretty quiet bench. The rotation looks like Nathan Eovaldi, John Gray, Andrew Heaney, Dane Dunning, Cody Bradford, with a bullpen of Kirby Yates, Jose Leclerc, David Robinson, and the rest are a little bit more quiet. Nathaniel Lowe is also projected to be in this lineup, but he will miss 2 to 3 months with a shoulder injury, so he will be out some time. I'll start with the Rangers first. I mean, they were a good team last year. With all the signings they've made over the years, you knew they were on their way up. I don't know if they were win the World Series good, but, man, that lineup showed it in the postseason. I mean, they were hot as anybody. They added Evan Carter, who was a rookie last year at the age of 21 years old and hits over 300 in the playoffs. I mean, maybe he was just hot, but that's a crazy way to start a career, to jump in the playoffs. He looks great. I'm collecting his rookie cards. I have a signed rookie auto from him, so I need him to be the next greatest player of all time. I'm a millionaire and retiring. And this team also has Max Scherzer, who will miss half of the season with an injury as well. This team hitting is very good. I mean, they are, and they're going to hit again. It's always going to come down to pitching with the Rangers. Do they have enough? I think their bullpen got better. I think their rotation is worse without Montgomery. But this team's going to be primed for another run at the playoffs. So that's what I have.
Go ahead, Bryce.
All right. I agree. This team, they were a great team throughout the season, but they didn't look like that World Series winner, and then they just got unbelievably hot. I do think that losing Jordan Montgomery is going to hurt, and obviously they lost Aroldis Chapman, so Pittsburgh's going to win the World Series now because they have Aroldis Chapman on the team. Roy, did you see the video that recently surfaced of Aroldis Chapman that he posted to his Instagram?
Yeah, I saw it.
That's crazy.
If anybody hasn't seen it, I encourage you to go look it up. It's a wild, like, he should be in prison for what he did.
He should be in prison for a few things he's done in the past. So
their additions don't really speak out to me a ton. I don't think that they're going to be a much different team than they were last year. I think they do lack some of the pitching that they had out of Jordan Montgomery, though. But, they have Max Scherzer coming back. So
yeah. But Max Scherzer is getting of age, and Max Scherzer was not as dominant as he was last year as he had been in the past. So maybe
to be fair, he was on the Mets and hated life, I think.
We'll make it to DeGrom back at the end of the year, too.
True. Jacob DeGrom will also, but he's also coming off Tommy John. They won't push him very hard probably down the stretch.
I think we'll see him around August, September.
Yeah. So I didn't know how much he would factor in, but yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this team hits tanks. They swing the bat and they swing it good. So they really just need their pitching to carry them again. Or to step up to be that team that they were last year and hopefully make another run deep into the playoffs.
Yeah. Go ahead, Roy.
No, I think this team. Well, I like this team because it's got a mixture of young kids who got hot, and they got some veterans. I mean, Marcus Semien and Adolis Garcia, who the Cardinals just gave up. I mean, gave nothing for. You just got some good young players. I agree. I think Langford's going to be a stud for him. Evan Carter just got hot. Yeah.
We'll see this year if it was hot or if it's for real.
Yeah, I mean, they got hot at the right time. That's all you need in the playoffs. I mean, is just get hot at the right time.
And the best part was it was their good hitters getting hot. Like it's like Seager and Simeon, and when those kind of players get hot, they're on. I mean, you can't stop them.
And I was thinking they made some great trades at the deadline to help them do that, and that's what made 100%. This team. Montgomery. They're starting pitching. I am a little worried about. I mean, Nathan Eovaldi, since he left the Yankees, has been a freaking stud, which pisses me off.
Crazy.
And Andrew Heaney, who couldn't even find a strike zone when he was a Yankee, somehow fucking struck.
He did that in LA once he left too.
I don't know. It amazes me. I don't get it.
David
you know, when they had Montgomery, I think they will. I think they would sign Montgomery if he would come down his price. But I think this team, they'll be good again this year. I don't know, World Series good.
Yeah.
They're a team that if they need somebody at the deadline, they'll go get them. And that's the difference. When you got teams like that, they got this pieces. If they aren't winning like they don't think they're going in the right direction, they'll just go get them at the deadline. And that's what a good team does.
I mean, if you put all their healthy pieces in, their lineup would look like Marcus Semien at second, Evan Carter in left, Wyatt Langford at DH, Adolis Garcia in right, catcher of Jonah Heim, third base Josh Jung, first base would be healthy Nathaniel Lau, center field is Loyedi Taveras, good defensive center fielder, and shortstop of Corey Seager. I mean, that's as good of a lineup as you're going to get in baseball almost. I mean, up and down, that's as good as it gets. I agree. So I don't think we have anything else on the Rangers. That's going to take us to the team that also finished. I didn't change it. I know their record because it was the same. Their record also was 90-72. However, had the tiebreaker and won the division. Is the Houston Astros? They go 90. What did I say? 90-72. Yep. Their key loss is Michael Brantley retired. Oh, I didn't mention they lose in the ALCS to the Houston or the Texas Rangers. A lot of Texas and Houston stuff going on. They lose Michael Brantley to retirement. They lose Ryan Stanek to Seattle, Phil Maton, reliever, to Tampa Bay, and Hector Neris to the Cubs. And they key additions, they really only had one, and it's Josh Hader, who they signed. I'll go over their lineup. Second base, Josman Altuve, Yordan Alvarez, Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker, Jose Abreu, Yanier Diaz, Chas McCormick, Jeremy Pena, Jake Myers. Bench is pretty quiet. A rotation of Fremer Valdez, Christian Javier, Hunter Brown, Ronald Binko, and JP France. Justin Verlander is expected to miss about a month, so then he will be back. And they're also getting back, I want to say, one more pitcher, and I can't think of it. Luis Garcia. He will be back about halfway through the season, coming off Tommy John. Lance McCullers is I believe a halfway through the season return. So a lot of their starting rotation is coming off injuries. And a bullpen of Josh Hader, Ryan Presley, Brian Abreu, Rafael Montero, and then the rest are pretty quiet. Roy, I'll let you start. What do you think of the Astros?
Yeah, so freaking tired of the Astros. I mean, they have your favorite player, Altuve. I mean, I know how much Josh loves him. This team just keeps finding ways to win. Alex Bergman and they got Jose Abreu. I mean, they've just got some good, solid guys that I can't. I mean, Kyle Tucker seems like he just comes every year and plays, and just amazes me how this team just finds a way. Their struggle this year is going to be starting pitching with all their injuries they had. That will be their problem. I mean, I think even they got Justin Verlander back. He's not. I think he's lost a step. So, but this team, I mean,
he'll be 40 or 41 this year. Yeah,
they're just. I mean, their starting pitching will struggle. They're some of them are young, but their bullpen's good. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So they'll have a good bullpen to cover them till the deadline when they need to get somebody. And just like the Rangers, they will go get somebody. They're willing to go get anybody they want to win a World Series. That's the difference between Texas and Houston and a lot of the other teams. The Dodgers are part of that too. They'll go get who they need to win at the deadline. And so I hope, hey, Yankees, I'm talking to you fuckers, listen and do and do the things you got to do to win. And that's what wins World Series. And the thing about Houston, they do it. I mean, hell, they went out and got Garrett Cole several years ago. They just do the right things. As much as I hate this team, they find ways to win.
How about you, Bryce? What do you think of the Astros?
This Astros team's really good, in my opinion. I mean, they have studs all throughout their batting lineup that swing big bats. You know, they're led by their leader, Jose Altuve, the former MVP. Absolute stud.
I'm about
there
to
at
punch
second
this
base.
guy across the table.
I don't know why. I haven't said anything. That's
Hey,
not-
it's on
not
video.
wrong.
Let's go right now and put bets on it.
I mean, Jose Altuve smacking him, and then Yordan Alvarez just hitting 500-foot bombs to drive him in. Bregman hitting tanks after that, and Kyle Tucker and Abreu. I mean, the team's stacked all the way down. The one thing that is crazy about this team is their bullpen. Adding Josh Hader, in my opinion, that made them one of the best bullpens in the entire league. I think that their starting is where they lack. They need – obviously they're going to have people come back from injury that could help, but I think this is the team that at the trade deadline, like Roy said, they're going to go get some big starter and they're going to make a push for the World Series again. I mean, they're just a good baseball club over there in Houston. They beat the shit out of the Yankees every single year.
Yeah, I mean, they really do find them trash cans attractive. They use them every night. I'll start with the lineup. Their lineup is good. Their best. This might come as a shock. Their best offensive player is Kyle Tucker. It's not even close. He's the best overall player on this team, in my opinion.
Hey, drives me nuts.
Kyle Tucker is so good, and he started his career as a top prospect and struggled. And then as soon as they let Correa walk, I mean, this guy became a monster. Altuve's 33 years old. He's a cheating fucking bastard. That's all I'm going to say.
Stud.
Yordan Alvarez was not on the cheating Astros, so I do like Yordan Alvarez. He's a good ball player. Boy, can he swing a fucking stick from the left side, though. Holy.
I was watching a
God.
little man, that guy you hate. He said if he had to pick one person to hit a home run to win the game, he was picking Yordan Alvarez.
I mean, when Yordan gets it, man, he hits it a long way.
Yeah.
Bregman has always been a good player. He's definitely taken a step back the last year than he did, the world, like the 2018 times. Still a good player, not taking anything away. Like I said, Kyle Tucker, in my opinion, is their best player. Jose Abreu was pretty bad last year. He's 37. Most underrated player on this team is Chas McCormick. I've had him on my fantasy team. Guy took a crazy leap when he changed his swing last year. Jeremy Pena sucks after winning a World Series for him, of course. What's new? Their bullpen, this might come as a little bit of a shock. I think their bullpen is very good, but their bullpen's worse this year than it was last year. I mean, they lose Ryan Stanek, Phil Maytune, and Hector Neris, and they only get Josh Hader in return. Still a crazy good bullpen. Not saying it's not. Montero, Abreu, Presley, and Hader. I mean, it's fucking 4 innings you can go with no runs scored. Yeah. But it is a worse bullpen than last year, because last year they had like 8 guys who could come in.
I'm pumped about Hector Neris.
Yeah, he's a good reliever. Their rotation is definitely the scary part. And the problem with some of their rotation, Lance McCullers has been hurt every year for the last. He's the Yankees version of Luis Severino. He's always hurt now. So I don't even know if you can expect anything from him when he comes back. I'm sure Justin Verlander, a full year in Houston, will have a Cy Young. I mean, I'm just sure it'll happen. Age is like a fine wine. I like Justin Verlander a lot, though, so I won't say anything bad about him. Luis Garcia coming back from Tommy John. This team just needs to survive the first half of the season when they get their reinforcements back later. So if this team can hang around the middle of the pack, they're going to be just fine. God, I hope they fucking lose every game. I hate this team. I am fucking sick and tired of this team. Damn it. I hate this. I'm sorry. I just hate this fucking team.
What a sore loser.
I do. I fucking can't stand them.
I mean, this guy,
I don't like him either, so.
They didn't even give props to a good baseball
The problem I have with the Astros is they cheated, obviously. But they did what the Orioles are just now doing. They lost year after year after year. How do you think they got all these players? They all were number 1 overall picks, basically. Correa was one as well, who's gone. But, I mean, they were horrid until the 2014 season.
Probably. They got like 10 years in a row. They got like first draft.
And Jose Altuve just became the best player in baseball.
I mean, he's a cheating trash can son of a bitch. That's all I'm gonna say. Sorry for cussing. The Orioles are doing that. That's how I think they're going to be crazy good for the next 20 years because of the same reason. I don't think we have anything else on the Astros. I'm sure they'll cheat their way to victory again.
Decide our order now.
Yep, we're just going to go over our order. Bryce, I'll let you go first again. What do you think the order of the AL West is going to be this year?
Mine's going to come as a shocker, but I think they're going to do the exact same order as they did last year. I think it's going to go Oakland last, Angels second to last, Mariners, Rangers, and Houston. I think that Rangers and Houston could bobble back and forth between 1 and 2, but I don't think that the other three are going to be any different than the spot.
Okay. Roy, what do you think? What do you think the order is going to be?
You got Oakland, who may win 40 games. I'm gonna give them.
Yep.
I'm gonna spot them at 42.
Whoa, that might be a record.
They got 50 this year.
I know.
I mean, they're going to struggle this year. The Angels will be down there too. They're going to. I mean, they're not going to win very many games. They're going to be around 60, 65 games. They're going to be very terrible. I got the Mariners and a third, same records last year, probably 85 wins or so. But then I got Houston. I think Houston, that pitching staff early on is going to struggle, and they'll be around high 80 games. I think Texas is the team that's going to win. I think the pitching staff though is a question mark, but I think they got enough pieces to win that division.
Yeah, mine's going to look similar. I am going to have Oakland in 5. I just think they're the second worst team in baseball. I think the White Sox are even worse. I was correct. Last episode, I did say Dylan Cease was not going to be on the team. I didn't know he'd only last one more day, but I knew he wouldn't make it to the season. At number 4, again, I'm going to have the Angels. Agree with you guys. I hope the Angels finish in last, though. I really do. I hate that team. That's ridiculous. That ownership and GM, terrible. Third, I am going to have the Seattle Mariners as well. I agree with you, Roy. A very similar record. I just think they don't have the star power in the middle, to get over the hump of the two teams in front of them. I think that's their problem. And I do agree with you, Roy. I do have Houston in second. I think the first half they will not play as well as they will in the second half. And I think Texas is going to finish in first, and I think they're going to breeze through the season. I would not be shocked if Texas is your 1 seed in Major League Baseball. I don't even know if they'll win another World Series, but I just think in a regular season, that lineup is just going to be too much. It just will be.
Do you have them as maybe the 1 seed?
I'm not saying I do.
In the AL, in the AL, you think they're better than Baltimore or the Yankees?
Well, to me, if I look at Baltimore, who do they have on their schedule that's a click, walk through? I think Texas has Oakland and LA Angels who they can walk through pretty quick. I think that helps them.
I think it used to be able. I would think it would be in the old day when they did that. When you played your division team 19 times, 18 times, whatever it was, and now they're only playing 9 or 12 times, and you're playing all of baseball. I think it's going to be. I think Texas. I think they'll be top 3. I just don't think they'll be. I don't think they're number 1. I think the Yankees or Baltimore are going to be number 1.
Easily, I could. To me, the only teams that are jockeying for the number 1 is Baltimore. The winner of the AL East. I'll just say that winner of AL East or the winner of the NL West or AL West.
Yeah, I think there are 4 teams. There's 4 teams in the AL right now that are
Yankees, Baltimore, Houston, Astros.
Yes,
or Houston and Texas, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree, but I just think Texas has an easier because I know they don't play the division teams as much, but they do play them more than other teams.
Yeah, when you play Oakland 12 times, I mean that's probably
should be 12 wins. Yeah, and I think the Angels took a step back too, so I think they're going to be worse. So that's why I wouldn't be surprised if they're a 1 seed. I don't think we have anything else for baseball. Next week we will be doing our draft for our MLB teams, and we will update you guys weekly on that. I mean, we won't go over every team every week for baseball. We'll just do a recap of some takeaways from the season for the week, and we'll update you guys on our draft. But you will see our draft live on next week's podcast. Again, March Madness will come out tonight. And I think that's going to lead us to our Josh's lock, Bryce's game, and Roy's old man wisdom / game.
Whatever he picked for the week.
Yeah. I am going to go with a lock, and I am going to go with the March Madness. Now, the numbers can change. I can't tell you the numbers won't change because I look on Tuesday as I record. And it's going to be 3 March Madness games that are played on Thursday. So when you're watching this, the game is tomorrow. I am going Nevada money line over Dayton. They are a 10 seed, and Dayton is a 7 seed. I have a money line of taking Nevada. 9 seed Michigan State, I have them beating Mississippi State, the 8 seed, and Texas Tech is a 6 seed. I don't remember quite who they play, but I'm going to parlay those 3 money lines: Nevada, Michigan State, Texas Tech. That's my lock of the week.
All right.
Oh, one more thing. My lock of the week last week, who did I have?
Scheffler.
No.
Alexander
Schauffele.
Yeah, Xander.
I had Alexander Schauffele because Bryce made me pick a golf, I picked him to finish top 10. He finished 4th. Ka-ching.
Well, I had Scotty Scheffler to win, and he did. Ka-ching.
So
I told you guys last week, I said Scotty Scheffler is the best player in the world right now. And look what happened.
That's
Crazy.
player on PGA.
Exactly. Crazy what happens when we play for the tour and not live.
Yeah.
All right, that takes us to our game. So I probably should have went with my other game that I had picked, but I already went over some of the answers with Josh. I thought that one might have been too hard for you guys to get. Now that I'm looking at this one, I don't think it's as hard, and you guys will probably get it. So I'm only going to give you 2 strikes for this.
Okay,
There's
2 strikes.
9 answers.
Yep.
You have to name every MLB player to hit 600-plus home runs.
Oh, God.
Every
You
NFL or MLB player has hit 600 home runs.
Yeah.
Over 600, yes.
And how
All right.
many are there?
There
5.
are 9.
Okay, let's knock number 1 out. Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds is number 1, 762.
Aaron.
Hank Aaron.
Hank Aaron has 755.
Is he? What number is he? Hold
Number
on.
2.
So we have 1 through 9, correct?
Yep, you have 1, 2 already.
And we got 1 and 2.
Yep.
Okay, we got 1 and 2. Roy, are there any names that you're thinking of?
Well, yeah. I mean, I got a bunch in my head.
'Cause they're all older players. They're not people that
Yeah,
I
I mean,
watch. So.
That's why I'm only giving you 2 strikes, because I know you're gonna probably throw out a name or two that isn't gonna be right.
Yeah.
600
I'm not saying
home
this
runs.
is correct, but Albert
Alex
Pujols got to be up
Rodriguez.
there. You think Alex Rodriguez is on there?
Yeah.
Let's hold on that because I don't know if he's on there. Hold.
Who'd you say?
Who did I say?
You said Pujols.
Pujols. He's probably up there.
Yeah, Pujols would probably be up
Pujols.
there.
Pujols is number 4,
Okay.
703.
Number 4.
You guys don't remember 2 years ago him hitting it?
I was like, I know he's up there. I just don't
Yeah.
remember the number.
It was him and Aaron Judge broke the records at the same time.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I do remember that. I didn't remember his number was 700.
And he was number 4, and he only had like
Yeah, so
600. He only like 600.
no, he got
right?
the
703.
703.
Yeah.
703. I mean,
Remember,
okay.
he hit 699 and 700 in Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
How about Mark McGuire?
Mark McGuire, yes.
That is your first wrong answer.
Wow.
Shit. What do you know what he had?
I think he was just under 600. I don't know exactly what he had.
So that tells me Sammy Sosa's not in here.
No, I know Sammy Sosa's not on there.
What about
Babe Ruth.
Yeah,
Babe Ruth's number 3 was 714.
number 3. Yeah.
Fucking forget that one. Gosh. 6. So we got how many? 4?
You think the kid's in there?
I feel like he only hit 500 and something.
Okay, that's fine. We can skip. I'll write him down. I also have A-Rod that you thought.
Yeah, hold on to him though. Yeah.
Griffey. We have one. We can still get one wrong. So let's just think of some names. What about like a Mike Schmidt?
I don't think he had 600 though.
Okay.
600's a shit ton. And not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like really old players. Roberto Clemente.
No. Like, see, like you gotta think Mickey Mantle had like 500 and something.
Yeah. What about like Lou Gehrig? Did Lou Gehrig have more than just his one season?
I mean, he didn't play a long career. He got sick.
Then no. Oh, that's a good point. They did name a disease after him.
I would think that. Gosh, dang it, 600. That's a tough one. Because I really only thought like 6 or 5 or 6 were 600. And I've really thought McGuire was there. We said
The number 9 is 609, so it's pretty close on the guys that get in.
So you got to have 600 to get in.
Yeah.
What about no? I don't think Jim Tomei had enough. Did he?
No,
He had a lot.
Yeah, Tom, but I don't think 600.
Can we put a future player? Aaron Judge will be on this list.
Killebrew hit a shit ton. He's an old player. He had a ton.
I
of
know
home
who that
runs.
is. I don't know. I don't think he's on there. All right, you want to rip A-Rod?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's go A-Rod.
A-Rod is number 5 with 696.
Wow. Okay, I think he'd be that
He
high.
hit 696.
Yeah.
Damn. For a shitty player, that's a lot of home runs.
I love A-Rod. He won a World Series for us.
One
Don't give
fucking
it-
World Series.
Roy, it's the only one I've been that I've
No,
been
you've
alive and been able to see.
Okay.
I can't count the 2000s. I wasn't watching. I at least watched the 09 one. Man, what I do to get back to that day? Never
9
gonna
years old.
Never gonna see. Yeah, and watching the Yankees win a World Series. Mom bought me a hat. She was so proud.
So we've gotten 5 of the 9.
We have 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Gosh.
You want to guess Griffey, or do you not think he's gotten to 600?
I'm blank, so go ahead.
Griffey's number 7 was 650.
650?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we got
Home
those
run
2.
leader.
Gosh dang it.
Maybe it is a little
Ripken?
harder than I thought.
You think Ripken got there?
Cal Ripken?
Yeah.
No.
We went over position home run leaders, and Ripken has the most home runs as a shortstop ever.
Yeah.
Which, shortstops doesn't hit many home runs.
I mean,
I mean,
A-Rod
Jeter
played
hit-
shortstop for half his career.
A-Rod was also the juice, so
You got any other guesses?
fuck. Frank Thomas is running in my head, but I don't think he had
that's not a
600.
terrible one.
I'm thinking old time players. I don't think Reggie Jackson got that way.
No, because the postseason home runs don't count.
Damn. I don't know. Start naming players. I don't fuck. Palmeiro. I don't think Rafael
No.
Palmeiro.
I don't hate the Frank Thomas pick. I don't know if he's on there, but I don't hate that one.
I just don't think he got that many home runs. Jim Thome, I guess you could try.
Yeah, Jim Thome.
Jim Thome's number 8.
Yes, I thought he was on there.
I didn't think you guys were going to get that one.
I thought he was on there.
I don't know exactly the number he had. Though.
So we have 2 left, 6 and 9.
Yeah.
The problem
You
is,
still have 1 strike.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I'm a blank with.
Can I don't know if I want a hint.
I'll give you a hint after you get a wrong answer.
Okay. Who else hits a lot of home runs, Roy, in history? Think of like corner outfielders, first baseman, third baseman. Catcher, Mike Piazza on there?
I don't think he sits 600. So you're talking 600. That's a
Yeah.
ton for a career.
Yes, I don't know if a catcher would be on there, but who are all-time great outfielders?
I don't think. I mean, like Luke Gehrig. I don't know if he got there. Roger Maris.
You think Mickey Mantle got to 6?
No, I don't think Mickey Mantle. I think Mickey Mantle fell short of 6.
How the hell is he the greatest player in history then?
Just because he did 600 home runs. By Willie Mays, maybe.
Oh, we missed that. Willie Mays is on there.
Willie Mays is
Number 6.
660, yeah.
We have number 9.
Come on, one more.
Can we get a hint now?
I'm afraid if I give you a hint, you're going to get it.
I feel like that makes it more of a modern player then.
Modern player then?
I don't know. I'm the way that he said that. If I give you a hint, that or something, I don't know. Yankee.
I'll give you a hint, but you don't have another strike. I'll take away your strike. For
No.
All right.
I'd rather take a shot in the dark and then get the hint. Who we need just a name. It doesn't have to be. Maybe.
I'm just going through each team.
609.
Okay,
that
Boston. Ted Williams. He hit a lot of home runs.
Yeah, but he missed a lot of years there when he went to the war.
The fact of that is a statement is just crazy. I know it's true.
I think David Ortiz is their home run leader.
You think he got the 6? I don't think so.
No, I don't think David Ortiz did.
Yankees.
I mean, fuck, we gave you A-Rod and Babe Ruth.
Ray, not a chance. Blue Jays, maybe Joe Carter. I'm just saying their best player that I know.
That's about the best player they've had.
And then Orioles. Ripken's the only one that it could possibly be.
I mean Brooks Robinson, but I don't know if he hit 609.
White Sox, Frank Thomas. That's the only one I would guess.
That's the only one I would think that hit home runs. So
Indians/Commanders/Guardians. I don't think it's them.
you're talking Jim Tomey there.
Yeah. Royals, not a chance. It's not George
No.
Brett.
No.
Twins, not a chance.
No.
I'm not saying this is it because I don't think he got quite this many, but Nelson Cruz is high on that list.
Yeah, but he's not that
He hit
high.
he literally was called the boomstick because all he did was hit home runs.
Maybe he's got 609.
He might.
No. I don't.
He's
think
got
that's-
higher than you think. He's definitely in the high 4s or 5s. And then
the Mets. I don't think anybody. The Braves. I can't think of
Chipper?
any. I hit a ton. Do you think 609?
I mean, I'd rather guess somebody like that than someone I don't know very well.
Go ahead. Well, you guess.
Chipper Jones.
It is not Chipper Jones.
All right, give us our hint.
You have said this player's name already.
I feel like it's Frank Thomas. Of the names we've said, I feel like Frank Thomas is the best guess.
Go ahead. I mean,
No. What do you think? We've
I
said the
don't-
person, so we don't.
so we said the
don't-
person.
Yes, so we don't
Damn
have
it.
to say. We don't have.
How did you think that was going to help us? You said the person. We've said like 8 players.
We've said like 30. Who have we said that you think it could be?
Frank Thomas or Killebrew. I think Killebrew hit a ton.
I don't think it's Harpin Killebrew. It could be Mike Piazza,
Mike Schmidt hit. You could be
Mike
Schmidt.
Schmidt. Of those guesses, who do you think is the number one?
I'll
tell you.
Mike Schmidt would be my guess, but
That's all. Mike Schmidt's going to be our guess.
Mike Schmidt? Is
Yeah.
that who you're locking in?
Yeah.
All right. I have taken another win from you guys.
Is it Frank Thomas?
It is Sammy Sosa.
Wow, I wouldn't. I didn't
Sammy
know that.
Sosa hit 609 home runs.
I didn't know he had more than Mark McGuire.
He only had about 6 good years, so I thought there was no way.
Sammy Sosa had 609.
Well, he cheats. That doesn't count.
Barry Bonds
Barry
number
Bonds.
1.
Also doesn't count.
A-Rod.
Also doesn't count.
Bullshit. That's all bullshit.
All right, so it's me. So I'm just gonna do 2 football players. I'm just gonna either one
Old
of them.
guys?
Huh?
Are they old guys?
Oh, I mean, one's an older guy, and one's you guys might know. You should know.
Okay.
All right, they're both running backs. So I'll just give you that, okay?
I don't like
Ooh,
running back.
Should I guess already?
All right, so the running back, this first one, running back, he played for the Chargers and the Jets. All right, from 2001 to 2011. He was a
Yeah, I was gonna say we should already know this.
Do you? I know who it is.
I can see his face, but I don't know his name.
who is it?
But you can say.
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yep. So the next one,
That was my favorite running back growing up.
That's
this
crazy.
one- you guys can enjoy this one.
Mine was Matt Forte.
All right, he
That's
played
crazy. I'm
for
sorry.
he played for the Bills and the 49ers from 1969 to 1979. He is a
These guys were playing before my parents were born, Roy.
he was the most valuable player in 1973.
This OJ?
Oh fuck, it might be. Say the team again?
The
Bills
Bills,
and
and Niners.
I know he played for the Bills.
I know he played for the
I don't know
Bills.
if he played for the Niners. I mean, that's man.
I don't
Is
know if
that
he was
that
quite
long
that
ago
old.
though? I don't. Yeah, I also don't know if it was that long ago.
I don't know another Bills running back.
I thought I knew who you were going to say it first, and then you didn't say it. I thought it was going to be Marshawn Lynch, Bills and Seahawks, and then Raiders, but you didn't go there. Bills running backs. I feel like they have an all-time great.
It's gotta be the Chiefs.
Well, let's try it.
Is it the
OJ
Chiefs?
Simpson.
Yes, it is.
Oh my god, that's fucking crazy. I can't
That's
believe
one
it was that long ago.
I just wanted to use OJ in this one.
Of course you did.
The double homicide.
Crazy. All right, I don't think we have anything else.
Him and Aaron Hernandez going to be cutting rugs here soon.
Hey, OJ's still alive.
I know.
And
That's
still
the thing.
talking.
I think that's going to do it for our episode. Like I said, March Madness episode will be out tonight. And then next week we will have 3 teams that made the playoffs, I believe. The Rams, the Steelers, and the Dolphins. All three made the playoffs, correct? Yep. We will do our MLB draft, like I said, and we will do that live. That's the only baseball content we'll do. We might cover, I don't know if many people know this, Major League Baseball's regular season starts tomorrow at 5 a.m. Central Time.
You're hearing this today.
Oh, yeah. The first game's already been played when you're watching this.
Yeah.
It's over. I forgot about that. Dodgers and Padres Korea series. I believe the game that has been played today is Glasnow versus Darvish. And then I believe the game tomorrow that you could see if you wake up at 5 a.m. is Yamamoto versus Musgrove. So
Yeah,
there you go. You guys
one
didn't
more
get up
thing
and
I
watch
wanna
that?
Put in is we are streaming on Twitch now.
Yep.
So if you want to come watch us play the show, the new 2024 game came out. So we've been playing a lot of that. If you guys want to come watch.
Yep.
I will be at the NCAA tournament in Indianapolis on Friday. I'll be wearing a triple alpha hat. So if anybody
Heck yeah.
wants to come by and say hi, we might try to get you on if you come and say bye. Hi.
Yep.
Not any of my players that are going to be seeing me.
No. Come say hello to Roy and Indy. Roy, do you know who's playing there yet?
I know Purdue is.
So you have you have that.
I think when we're there, it's Purdue and then Utah State and
Yep. I know the corner that you're talking about.
Yeah,
so Roy, you will have Purdue versus 16 seed, Utah State, and TCU. That's good. That'd be a good game. The second one. I don't know if there's.
We'll be there in the evening. I'll be there in the evening. The late session. So I think we get there like 5 or something.
Yep. Gotcha. Sweet.
That'd be cool.
That'll be fun. Have fun at that. We will be in Nashville.
Snack Attack will be there.
Yep.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we will be in Nashville this weekend, so we'll be a little.
Maybe we'll get some pictures of the stadium for the Alphas page. We'll get some.
Sure. They don't have a baseball field, so I don't really care right now.
They might soon.
Not right now.
Yeah,
they will future. I think that's gonna do it.
They'll have building expansion there.
Yeah, they will. Once Oakland goes to Vegas.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna do it. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, comment. I still haven't read a goddamn comment. Somebody please comment. Roy, tell people in Indy to comment. God damn it.
Will do. I'll try to get on the big screen with the hat.
Yeah, just straight point to the hat. That's all you have to do. Yeah. Fun fact: I got me and Bryce got someone to follow at the casino the other night.
Oh yeah, that guy was our lucky charm.
And let me tell you, Roy, I robbed the casino the other night.
Yeah,
robbed.
Good time.
Brought $300, left with $1,200.
I had a guy at school follow us today, so
yep. So appreciate the support. Like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you. We'll see you tonight for the March Madness episode. Peace.
Peace.
See ya.